My name is Alvina Chibhamu, and I have been in Scotland for a little over 4 years. My background is actually from asylum seeking. So I've just recently got my status as a refugee. But just going back a few years ago, when I came into Scotland, I was pregnant. So I gave birth to my daughter, and then just as she turned about 4 or 5 months, we were launched into the lockdown. So the lockdown was incredibly difficult. The isolation and everything was just overly overwhelming. So I just, set about finding something that I can do just to stop myself going crazy. So most of it was, these volunteering opportunities. So I set about looking out for them. I had been a service user for the Scottish Refugee Council. It was, at the time, if you're coming into the country, the three words that I used to describe my journey or my coming into Scotland were homeless, pregnant, and alone. So that was an incredibly difficult time, of course, and just finding an organization or a charity that is able to hold your hand through those difficult times. So I used to go to the SRC. I had a caseworker that spoke to me like through every stage of the asylum process. That is daunting in itself because when you come in, I had at that point had my initial interview, so have no idea. I've just been placed into this new place where I don't know anybody. I don't have any kind of connections at all. So it was all of that in one, coupled with the personal issues or the previous traumas that I was coming from. It was just, incredibly difficult, is what I would say. The support that I got from the Refugee Council was second to none at the time. It just kind of became like, something or some people that I can lean on and my go to for anything. The learning was three-tiered, I want to say. So I gained like personal, professional, and societal benefits. So first of all, professionally, I want to say that I didn't know anything. I had no energy. I had low self-esteem. I had no confidence whatsoever. So finding something that totally aligns with my beliefs and what exactly I was going through. So I thought to myself, you know what, this opportunity has come through for me. I have lived it. I have experienced it, and um, honestly, I wouldn't want anybody to go through the same experiences as I have. So just having that platform to be able to, to share or to make a difference on that level, or to be an advocate for others, or to steer change from that level was absolutely amazing for me. I went to my first board meeting. Whew, it was still difficult, I got my board papers at least a week before, and I was overwhelmed. It was, all these mountains of papers, pages and pages, and I'm thinking, surely I'm not expected to go through all of this. And the language as well sometimes can be a bit. So it was really everything from having no experience whatsoever, and then you're lugged with fiduciary responsibilities. You are expected to, know about the legal duties. Uh, Finance papers, as I said, are very complex, just numbers and numbers swimming out at me. And also just knowing that I'm responsible for the compliance of the organization, the regulations and policies. It was, yeah, it all got a bit too much at that point. So I want to say that the SRC does well. Every new board member gets a mentor or a buddy, and mine was great. Her support and her guidance really helped me a lot. And then there was also the training opportunities that came. I remember when I was enrolled onto the governance training. So sitting through that, I was like, oh, okay, everything is starting to make sense. So, like when you first get on the board, everything can be so overwhelming. You're meeting new people that you've never met in your life, and you're in a new environment, and the language is different. Mostly, really, on the board, they are professionals. And for me, like given my background, and given what I've said about, my confidence being zero and everything, I'm thinking to myself, oh, what did I do? But fair to say that I really did receive a lot of support, and that really did help me a lot. Um, to the extent that when I joined other boards from that, I remember when I joined another board and I had maybe attended 2 or 3 board meetings, and I don't really know how it came about. Someone mentioned that Alvina is a board member with the SRC, and from then I just became the go-to person for anything that is difficult. Why? Because I volunteer with the go-to organizations for asylum seekers and refugees. So they were also an organization that supported asylum seekers and refugees. So um, I was put on this pedestal that, um, well, you are with the biggest or the largest organization, so you're bound to know more. You've got prior experience of being on a board, so it was a little bit of some pressure. But of course, like if you're in that position, you're spurred to do more. And I wouldn't obviously take on everything, but at least challenged me to look out for other things that I wouldn't have normally looked at. Everybody's got something to give. First of all, for me, it was maybe finding purpose at the time. As I said, it was like a really, really difficult time in the lockdown, and I really wanted something to anchor me. And I found that, volunteering, coming from an asylum seeking background, it was myself wanting to reciprocate the support that I had received, and to also make sure that um, people are going through the same experiences as I have, or people don't have to go through the same experiences as I have. So it's that, like, and for organization, like volunteering with organizations, or for the board to find people that are aligned with their missions and goals is absolutely vital. You can't get any better than that. We have people of this, with the same interests, the same goals, that are like communing together to just sharing a common purpose. That's like really good, really important. Absolutely. Going back to what I said about everything being very hard and very challenging, I didn't understand anything. I would say ask questions and questions and more questions. You know, I would be sat in a board meeting, you know, in as much as the other papers I could follow because it's like English and just people having discussions and speaking over the papers, you can kind of follow. But when it came to like other complicated matters such as the finance or other things like, and they use jargon such as like KPIs, I didn't know what it meant at the time. And even simple thing is SMT and stuff like that didn't mean anything to me. So you'll be sitting there just worrying that I'm not understanding anything, I'm not following, I don't want to make a fool out of myself. And then, in the middle of all that, somebody who I look up to, somebody that I hold in high esteem, would actually ask the same question that I'm thinking about. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, I could have just asked that question, but I didn't, because you have all these things that you're second guessing yourself, and you think you're going to make a fool out of yourself. But really and truly, don't make any assumptions. Just ask questions and seek clarification. And honestly, like there's lots and lots of support and guidance on the board. If I had to go back now, I would focus on like maybe the relationship building side of things. Like if you got to know the team members personally and the staff, and meeting the service users also, like just be engaged and be involved on that sort of level, and also like engaging with stakeholders. It does really help with everything: collaboration, partnerships, and just working together. Another thing would be maybe I was thinking about the governance training that I did. I was enrolled on several other training opportunities. But I'm thinking to myself, outside of the ones that I was enrolled on by the SRC, I didn't like do anything else to look out for, or to like research what I needed for myself to be comfortable in my role. So I think going forward, like going back, I would actually do that. Like just invest in self growth, personal growth, and the least I can do is ask. If they don't provide it, then that's fine. But at least I would have, and then, well, there are plenty other opportunities to learn these days. There's just TikTok. There's all of that stuff going on. So yeah, just maybe invest in the learning and growth on that level as well. And also, I've just found that the times that well, I'm obviously a lot more comfortable now to ask questions and seek clarification and that. And then like the when I started doing that, I found that there was value in my insights. I ask a question and then it sparks a lengthy conversation, and then I'm just looking back and thinking, oh, I did that. But yeah, that kind of um, gave me confidence to know that what, I can ask anything. If I didn't, and then somebody else asked the question, I'll then feel even more silly to kind of say, actually, that's what I was thinking about. That's what I was going to say. It just feels as though you're piggybacking on somebody's, ideas all the time. And it was even in the case of you're sailing through the board meeting, you're agreeing with everything, you haven't asked a question, and then now the agenda is at the end, and you're thinking to yourself, I haven't said a word, you know. So even in that way, there's just that pressure of like, um, all the things that I was thinking to say has already been said. So what am I going to say now? So that's not a good feeling. There is no silly question. Just go for it. I want to say that, even when you don't think that you're making a difference, if you're really passionate about um, what you're talking about, or what you're advocating for, that will make a difference. And as I said, like even for people that don't have lived experience, there is so many ways to give back. You can give your time, you can give your skills, as I said. Yeah, you can just contribute in lots and lots of different ways. And other people that don't have the skill sets that are being looked at, I would just say for anybody to go for it. Because even if sometimes when we recruit for board members, I was a panelist one time, and we wanted like and a certain number of board members, and then we saw at the end of it that we really had very, very, very strong candidates. And even at that, to say that this one doesn't have this experience we're looking for and this one doesn't, they are very strong in whatever they have to offer. So even in that, you make like adjustments, or it just so happened that at the time on the board we had room to maneuver, so we did. So even though we're recruiting for a certain number of people, we ended up recruiting the other person that didn't necessarily have the skill sets we were looking for at that particular moment, but because they had so much more that they could offer the board, we thought that they were too much of an asset to let go.